Yeah, very
Okay, so well, I hope you enjoyed lunch. We still have a few more sessions to go. But honestly, this type of events would not be possible or would be very difficult to organize if it wasn't thanks to community, the community that we build, right? So yeah, so here we have Laura, community advocate, to talk about guess what? SAP community. So yeah, over to you.
Thanks, Antonio. Yeah, hi everyone. Also from my side, it's a pleasure to be here. So thanks for inviting me. And as Antonio said, I would like to give you an overview of the SAP community. I'm part of the community team located in Germany, and my focus is community events. So, what we're here for today. So, yeah, I'm happy to give you an introduction or an overview in general. But before I start, maybe a quick check with the audience. Who of you is familiar with the SAP community? Okay. And who's active on community, meaning the platform, but also the ecosystem as a whole, like at events and all of that. Louis, why not? All right. Maybe for the ones who did not raise their hand, let me advance the slides. Yeah. So the SAP community, when we think about the online world of it, we speak about community.sap.com, which is a platform for SAP professionals to meet, engage, share knowledge, exchange on SAP topics. That can be done in various ways. Community members can use the Q&A area on the platform to ask questions, or if you're an expert, you can answer questions to other community members to help each other. Um, Topic experts can use the blog posts, the blogging functionality to share their knowledge, their experiences, yeah, with other community members as well and learn from each other via writing blog posts. There are also various groups on the platform, different groups of interest or topic via role or SAP topic specific, or also location specific groups where members can join and interact within that space of a community group as well. Um, the community in general, as I said, is for sharing knowledge with each other, but it is also a great place to actually build reputation, to build your or grow your network and your professional path within the SAP ecosystem. And one way to do that is also by joining SAP community programs, such as, for example, the SAP Champions program. We have some SAP champions present here today. You can see them wearing those light blue shirts. So we have Mustafa, Luis, and Antonio. Um, if you want to know more about the Champions program, of course, feel free to ask those three about their own personal experience with it, how they actually became a champion, and what it actually means to be one. But I can share that there are top contributors within the SAP ecosystem, sharing their expertise, their knowledge, being active at events, for example. So Luis and Antonia also organizing community events like the SAP Inside Track here today in Barcelona, and Mustafa in Australia as well, or speaking at events as well. So yeah, there are various ways to engage and get active. I was mentioning location groups already a little. So those are areas on the platform where you can, yeah, yeah. So where you can connect locally with the community and with the community members within your area or region. And there is a location group for Madrid as well. So Antonio and the others are running that one. Unfortunately, I don't have a QR code now, but maybe we can share it later. So please make sure to join that group. Or there's also a group for Barcelona. So when you're from Spain, somewhere near, yeah, to stay up to date regarding community activities locally. Um, if you don't find a location group within your region or area, that's because it is up to the community members themselves to run one. So if you're interested in starting a local community in your area or region, you can step up and reach out to us and do so. So there's the chance to create a local community and start something from scratch on your own. So much for the online world of SAP community, but we're here today on at an event, so in person, which is yeah, my passion, close to my focus area, community-driven events. And I've just mentioned it already that those events or local communities in general are run by the community members for the community members. So those are not SAP run or SAP pushed events. Of course, we're supporting, but they're all driven by the community. Everyone can participate. So, everyone can become a speaker as well. You can get active, you can submit your session and be put on the agenda to speak at the community event. But also, of course, you can support in various other ways, like volunteering or even organizing an event. It's a great way, and I hope you all experience it today, to meet other experts, to network, to exchange with each other, and really learn from each other as well. Yeah, and to give you an overview of local communities around the globe, there are quite a few, and quite a few community events happening globally as well. So last year we had in total over 300 events happening around the globe, and on the map you can see we have currently little over 77 locations worldwide with 250 organizers running these community events in those locations. So I'm always quite proud and happy to present that enormous number of activities worldwide. And I've just mentioned it, and maybe that's a call to action at the end of my presentation. If you would like to get active at community events, either supporting ongoing local activities here in Madrid, Barcelona, or any other part of the world, you can, of course, become a volunteer for a specific event. If you want to share your knowledge with others and inspire, you can always become a speaker. So there's always a call for speaker, a submission of sessions before the event actually happens. So the agenda is also built by the community members submitting their talks. Or, of course, if you want to take the lead in your region, you can also become an organizer yourself. And yeah, that's all that I wanted to share today. I don't know if you have any questions, if you want to share some experiences of yours, but I do hope that you have a great experience here today. And yeah, feeling the community spirit at the Inside Track here in Madrid. So thank you.
So in case you haven't grabbed one of the bags back there, please help yourself to one. There is an SAP community sticker there.
Mhm.
And
The pen.
and a pen. So make sure to take one, and you'll get one of those. Yeah, and now we're going to our next session, which is Antonio Valladares is going to talk to us about how to avoid catastrophes in SAP Integration. Not to create them. Okay. Yeah. Now that I think of, maybe we should have put them in a different order, right? Like first the catastrophe or avoiding the catastrophe and then disaster recovery or
Recover if you failed.
yeah. If there is a catastrophe, then disaster recovery. Okay. Hope you enjoy.
Yeah. Let me share the screen. Yeah. Hi. Okay. First of all, thank you very much for the organization, the Antonios. They are doing a great work, and also thank you very much for Neoris EPAM for hosting this event here. You have a really wonderful place to host this kind of events, so thank you very much. I'm going to talk about how to avoid integration catastrophe. I have a lot of slides. I will be jumping them because if not, we will stay here too long. I will try to make it at least a little bit different because I know that we have some lunch, so I want you that you don't fall asleep. And I have some presents here. I couldn't bring for all of you because they are quite thin. So the ones that are going to respond some questions, they will get one. Okay. I will check them that you are not sleeping. So let's go to the agenda if this works or not. Sorry, I need to click here. Yeah, now it will work. Okay, so first of all, we are going to check why utilize patterns. And then I will show you a small video on what happens if you don't utilize patterns, that is a catastrophe, and how to avoid it. And then the idea is to compare the pipeline concept. We are going to compare the version 2 of the pipeline concept version versus the patterns that we deploy, what we have. And then a little bit of overview of how you can operate with patterns, which tools you can use in order to use it. So the first question, from here, who knows a little bit of integration? Okay, so quite a lot of people. I cannot give a toy for all of you. And who is already working with Integration Suite? Okay, most of them. Who use integration patterns? Okay, good. Who use Pipeline Concept 2.0? One. Okay, you deserve this then. Okay, so let's see. So I mean, we are quite recognized in the area of integration. We do have a lot of expertise, etc. But we are not here to talk about that. Integration Suite has a lot of capability. But what it joins all together when you need to do a development and when you want to publish in the API, etc., is the cloud integration. So we are now going to focus on how to build the content in cloud integration. Why we use patterns? Okay, so the first is because we want to improve the performance of the system. And for that, I will show you very short videos. Then the second one, it will be, sorry, to improve the maintenance, the evolution, and the operations. Okay, so I have here the small Cody that is telling me, hey, can you prove it? So I built, sorry, this is going with a lot of delay. Now, so we build one scenario. The scenario is very simple. It's 100 magma silos, same article. I set up the triggering at one IDOC at the time, and there is no mapping, just a small Groovy script that does a sleep of 500 milliseconds. And we are going to run this scenario with no pattern style, so very simple iFlow. We receive an IDOC. We put some properties just to store the IDOC number, etc. We execute the Groovy script. You see that there is no much logic over there. And then we will see how it works. So, can you see the video? Yeah. I think I should have forward, but again, very simple material. Don't think that there is like very heavy. Here we paste the 100 articles. We are going to trigger it in background, one at a time. And the idea, this scenario is to just no conversion, wait 500 milliseconds, and store it in an SFTP. Now we are triggering the IDOCs in background, and I started the chrono, and let's check how much it takes. No, we can do that exercise with more IDOCs and with triggering in parallel, but the idea is to show how much time it takes to process one IDOC, because integration suite, as a principle, as Apache kernel is, It opens a connection with the ICM, and it does a full synchronous process for a synchronous message till the very end. And what we want to show here is the importance of the coupling center from receiver using patterns. So we see to process 100 items, it's taking already 1 minute and something, etc. Basically, the bottleneck here is that we open an ICM connection, it waits the 500 milliseconds plus the additional time that it takes to get the IDOC, login, etc., drop it into the SFTP, and return a technical SDK that you don't see in the system. And then that is the one that closes the connection and triggers the next IDOC. So in total, it took 2 minutes, 18 seconds. And then we can see here, this is our monitor that we received the 100 IDOCs, and they were all processed and no problem, okay? So what is our proposal? Our proposal is to use patterns. So we use 4-tier pattern for all the asynchronous communications. It has some exceptions, but okay. We use the first step for doing a decoupling. We receive whatever message and we put it in a JMS queue. Then we do the routing pattern that we don't use the partner directory. What we use over there is value mappings, but also smart routing. So smart routing based on the message. And we don't have a unique pattern that fits all. Okay, we have one for IDOCs, one for XI, one for files, one for XML, one for JSON, full stop. And then we have the application tier, is where we do the transformation. And then we have the dispatching tier again, no? And the both routing and dispatching, it has retry mechanisms. We will check it. So the first step is the decoupling. It's very simple. We store some values in order to track and trace these things. And we just put it in a JMS queue. The second step is a little bit more complex. It's where we do the routing, again, as I mentioned. So for the case of IDOCs, we do a smart routing that is based on sender, receiver, message type plus variant of the IDOC. If there is no additional logic, this is the process direct call. And if not, we go to a value mapping where we check if this combination has some RISEP over there. If there is a RISEP, we can check additional conditions. And if there are additional conditions match, we go for the third step to obtain the process direct receiver. So it's a little bit more complex, but in this example that I'm showing you, is just a direct process direct. Do you use the very complex conditions in the process directory for doing routing? Do you use complex routing conditions in the process directory to? Yes, well, the XSL transformation is the one that is doing the magic, but the setup in the partner directory?
Most probably yes, but so short answer is yes.
Yes. Okay. So if you have experience with that, you know that it's a little bit pain. This is the same application method. So we just set the same properties. We have the same Groovy script. And then this is the dispatching to an SFTP. Okay, again, dynamically we get all the details. We can either pass it from the third step to the fourth step, or we can store it in a value mapping, depends on the flavor that you want to choose for patterns. And we have a video. So this video is shorter. It's not, I will not be here doing this presentation. And same scenario, same 100 dialogues, trigger one at a time, and triggering background. So what is the difference here? The difference is that or S4HANA, when it triggers one IDOC, open a connection, or first step, put it in a JMS queue and close the connection. So we don't have the whole end-to-end process waiting to close the ACM connection. And then it releases faster the ACM connection and allows to have all the processing inside the integration suite and don't block the sender systems. So it's way faster. So you see, first in 10 seconds, we have already 19, 31, 46, 45. And instead of 2 minutes and 18 seconds, 400 IDOCs, it was around 5 times faster. Again, in our monitor, this is a monitor that we developed in order to see process. We can see that all the messages are there and all the messages were processed, okay? So that's not the only reason to use patterns. No? Another reason is that if you don't use patterns, what you end up is doing a spaghetti program, okay? How are you doing if you are receiving multiple items? Huh? Are you making them all in the same iFlow, or you have a kind of router? So I encourage to have a kind of router, because if you receive 3 IDOCs, it's okay. But if you receive 25, you will end up with, yeah. And when you do when you need to do a change in one IDOC, and when you do the transport, you don't need a coffee in the morning in order to wake you up. So, any question about this thing? No? Okay. Additionally to these features, using integration patterns helps you to have an standardization of an error handling, alert mechanism, automatic reply, manual reprocessing, divide and conquer, because we have different steps and we only apply the changes where we need to make it, reusability. And I think the objective of the first part of this thing is to convince you that the way of doing integrations in Integration Suite is using patterns. No matter if you use pipeline, no matter if you use your own patterns, or no matter if you use our patterns. So let's take a look of what SAP provides. No, so SAP releases the pipeline content version 2. They have 3 different models. Okay, they have one model for integration message runtime asynchronous, another one for synchronous, and another one that is fully decoupled. So the main difference in the fully decoupled and the message routing for asynchronous is that it has 2 more steps, the fully decoupled, that represent the sender determination and the receiver determination that we have in PIPO. Both all patterns and pipeline concept uses JMS queues. In the case of the pipeline concept, it uses only 2 queues, one that is dedicated for the sender part and another one that is for the receiver part. And it uses 2 additional deleted queues that are mirrored with these other queues. The rest of the communication between iFlows as using process direct and the routing conditions in order to determine where you need to send this thing are based on partner directory setup. And to process this partner directory setup, it uses very complex SSLT transformations. So the first question here, who is more comfortable building XSLT or Groovy scripts? Groovy? XSLT. Oh, Juan, man, I will not give you a toy because I see you very often, but are you also more comfortable with XSLTs? No. Okay, so who is more Groovy guy? The rest, no? Java? Okay, good, because we need to use Groovy, okay? So I will give you one for the Groovy. So, under my perspective, XSLT is super powerful, but I'm also not very good on understanding or processing this. Maybe next time I will call Juan. So for me to understand the determination that is behind all these partner directory rules, it's a little bit more complex, the XSLT mapping. The good point that SAP built with the pipeline concept is that really they build something that fits to all the scenarios. So it's very complex, the setup. Even they release a Windows program to do the setup in the partner directory, so you don't do it directly in the system. But it's very complex. It's very complex, and yeah. So a little bit of explanation. We have different iFlows. Some of them are scenario specific, and some of them are generic. So let's imagine the case, same case. We receive IDOCs and we send it to an SFTP. How it will be represented using the pipeline concept. The first box, it will be a scenario specific for IDOC, where we will receive all the IDOCs. They will be dropped in JMSQ, and we will have a generic iFlow that will be whatever message is there, no matter if it's an IDOC, XML, whatever. From this message that you receive, it will launch some logic in order to get from the parent directory the next steps that they need to execute. And if we, for example, instead of receiving an XML, we receive whatever other message, it can also run a process direct call in order to do the conversion. Let's imagine a JSON in order to be converted to an XML or a flat file or whatever. Then it drops it into another queue, and we have another generic IFlow that lists all the messages and decide which step is going to process this. And from the processing, it will automatically call the communication channel in order to deliver the message. That's in case of SFTP. If we are triggering an XI message or an IDOC, we will have another outbound scenario specific for that. So I compose a list of how it should be set. And we can see that, for example, here we have the sixth step because it will, the seventh step because we will do transformation. And the step 8 and the step first are optional, okay, following the pattern. So who thinks that this is easy? Okay, good, because for that one I will give all the toys and yeah. So in order to do this, where is all the magic happening? All the magic happening, again, if you are used to do that, it's not that difficult as it sounds, okay? The first time it looks a little bit overwhelming because we are not very used to use partner directory because they are optional steps, they are mandatory steps, etc., etc. But I implemented in a lot of customers and it's doable. It has some advantage and some disadvantage. It's way better than not using patterns, okay? To make it clear. So all is based in partner directory. And for the partner directory, you need to do some setup related with the sender system, some setup related with the receiver system, and then some setup related with the message itself, with the interface itself. And one of the steps is to create a XML file that you can see here, where we can place the receivers and the condition in XPath form. And this file, we binary loaded into the partner directory to be processed with this magic SSH transformation that does everything. Okay? We build other patterns. Before SAP released the pipeline concept 1.0, way before. And our patterns had a different philosophies. Like, I mean, we don't need to be just one model that fits all the scenarios. We can have more models. So we have 5 sender pieces and 5 receiver pieces that we can combine. As I mentioned, IDOC, XI, files, flat files, XMLs, and JSON. For the receiver, the same one. It has 4 steps. And I say 4 steps, not always. So we are more flexible in that. You can modify the patterns, etc. So we have some cases where we introduce either 3 or 5 steps. Which are these cases? Let's imagine that we are integrating from an IDOC to multiple REST applications. Setting up a REST application only based on value mapping parameters, it was very complex because in one we use basic authentication, in another one auth2, in another one whatever modification of the auth2, etc. Another using certificates, etc. So what we decide is, okay, we can build a 4th step that routes to a 5th step scenario specific in order to do descending to the REST, to the SOAP, or whatever scenario that brings a change in the connectivity path. We use value mappings instead of the partner directory. Okay, we use value mappings for 2 reasons. First one, we believe that are easy to use. And second one, they are available in Edge Integration Third. At the contrary, partner directory is not available in Edge Integration Third. And we use Groovy script in order to do this logic. Because if one day somebody comes and say, okay, you know, I want to do a more complex logic that is what they have these guys, etc., you can always edit. So it's easy to maintain. We believe that it's easy to maintain. Probably other scenarios cover 99.9% of the cases. I'm not saying that 100%. Maybe SAP wants neither. But I don't think that doing one size fits all is the way to go. No? Also, another positive thing that we have is that, and this is a number that we invent, but 90% of the scenarios, they don't require routing setup because they are based on really the simple metadata that we use in PIPO and always, it's like, how do you route an item? Most of the cases only sender system, receiver system, message type, and the variant. You don't need to overcomplicate the things more. So in these cases, we don't go and look the value mappings. Only when we need to do a extended determination, we fill data in the value mappings. Same case for the proxy. How do you route normally a proxy in your mind? Sender system, receiver system, and service interface. Same, no? For the files. System where you read, routing address, and file name. Yeah, here we go, or file name or file pattern. So it is quite simple, and you can set up when you are doing the sender system. Again, the picture, but here, just to focus in what we consider sender and what we consider receiver. Because the sender part and the receiver part is something that we build, is ready to deploy, barely minimum configuration. What we need to deliver is only the middle part, the application tier. In the application tier, we don't need to do the same exercise as we do if we don't use patterns. So there is no extra work. Here you have all the combinations of sender that we have. I know the capital side of router, side the blah, 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 blah. Okay, a little bit more details in the technical part. And now we can run a small comparison. No? So this is a table that shows, for me, these are the two best options that you can do. Okay, we are comparing here a Ferrari with a Lamborghini to make it clear. No, if I put another column of not using patterns, so the pipeline content is very rigid. No, the approach is please don't modify our content because we maintain our content. So just deploy it from the package. When there will be an update, deploy and deploy the update. Don't do that. Perfect. Our approach is more flexible. It's like, hey, you have a need, you can modify. And if you want to add, I don't know, a canonical layer, add a canonical layer. Not a problem. Instead of 4, you will have 5. JMS usage. SAP is true. The first question when you are talking about patterns is how many JMS queues are you going to use? See, if we have 100, don't worry. I mean, nor SAP nor us, we are going to consume all the JMS queues. So SAP use 4, 2 plus the 2 deleted queues, and we use 10 and 10. We still have room to create. We believe that it's better to have 50 queues and reduce the complexity than rather having 2 and increasing the complexity. The complexity, I'm not going to lie you, none of the things, both things require a little bit of understanding. No? And you need to feel comfortable and understand what we are doing, what are the steps for, which piece you need to put here and there. But I will say that the pipeline concept for after using it for a long time is more complex than our patterns, because our patterns, when you deploy, then it works. No, you don't need to do, but it's good to understand. Compatibility with integration thread. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, until this year is expected to be released the partner directory for Edge integration thread, but at this moment we don't have a partner directory for Edge integration thread. And our patterns are tested in and running in productive systems using Edge integration cell. We have also an Edge integration cell instance where we run some Kafka proof of concept for our patterns, and they run very smoothly using value mappings, etc., etc. And also in the Edge integration cell, you don't have any problems with limitation of JMS queues. So this is also very good. Monitoring capabilities. This is something that we introduce. So if you use patterns, you don't have monitoring capabilities for this. Let's go very fast to show you how you can monitor both patterns or whatever pattern. No? So we have a monitor that that is oriented for usage of process. That the process is the concatenation of the pattern. So this is a CAP application that we deploy, and we can see that after the 100 messages that are there, if we click in one, we see the 4 steps over there. and you can open and see the different steps, no? The L1, L2, L3, L4, and we can also navigate to the SIT standard from there. In our monitor, we don't store payloads. We only store data related with the log, so it's full SOX compliance and is deploying in your own BTP, etc. Okay, so just very fast. We have some initial screen with some KPIs on how the messages are processed, etc., etc. You have an integration dashboard. Integration dashboard, the purpose, I think the ones that they came last year to the SIT, they saw the integration dashboard working. No? So it is in one screen, all the iFlows that you have, responding to some of your questions. Here you can compare the version that you have developed with the version that you have deployed. And if it's different, it's highlighted. You can do massive deploy and massive undeploy of iFlows, because this case is very useful when you were in PIPO and stopping all the channels of a factory that they were going to do plant maintenance, and you need to stop like 20 SFTP files channels. Here you go, type, automatically filter from all the package and do an automatic and deploy. And yeah. Then we have the monitor that I think is the best. This is how to set up the monitor. It's very simple. It's drag and drop, and then you have all the configuration here. And it also now, when detects a new message, it has like a smart suggestion. So it tells you, we received this message. I suggest you that the first step is this one, the second one is this one, the third one is this one. As everything is working based on value mapping, so we improve the value mapping usability. We can load value mappings from Excel. We can export it into an Excel and deploy here value mappings, etc., etc. We have automatic documentation related with integration suite that it automatically documents at this moment the iFlows, certificate monitoring, and a chatbot that you can ask questions. No, like, which value mapping is used for doing WMS conversions, and it will tell you. These are some features. Thank you very much. I tried to be as fast as I can. I hope I didn't consume much time from the rest of the colleagues. And see you next time. If you want anything, or do you have any questions? Sorry, before we continue. Nobody wants. Who wants one? Wait, I will send my. See you. You want one? So if you have any question, please do it now, do it later, or you can scan the QR code and you can send me the question in that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Antonio. Another Antonio here, for your presentation regarding how to avoid catastrophes. Well, if we avoid a catastrophe, we don't need disaster recovery.
Yeah.
Kidding, I'm kidding. Okay, so now we have Juan Carlos who will talk to us about clean core RESTful development in ABAP.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, no, not yet, but we're right away.
Good.
So you see it?
Yep. Yep. Okay.
Okay. Oh, here. Okay. So, first of all, thank you to the organizers. Place is really nice and the organization is great. My idea was to do it in Spanish, but seeing that everyone has spoken in English, I will do it in English. So the talk here is clean core in real life, RESTful development in SAP. What we are trying to present is a real case that we face it with a customer, and that allows us to speak about clean core, right? So, does it work? Yeah. So we're going to talk first of all about a little bit about clean core, Some colleagues already talked about it, so we'll make it short. Then the use case, and then some outcomes that we have and we obtain from this expertise on other customers as well. So clean core, 5 guiding principles. Um, SAP says that processes, data, extensibility, integration, and operations are the key to reduce the number of custom code in your core and reduce the complexity there. And this is the way to making your core clean, right? Um, they say that processes, by reducing the complexity of your processes and sticking to the standard SAP processes, you are going to be able to reduce the complexity. Data, most of you have heard about data cleansing, data governance, master data governance software, for example. Extensibility based on released APIs. We're going to see some slide about that was already presented previously about the APIs, the released APIs. Then we have the integration. We've talked about integration all during the day. And then the operations, that is the governance of all the actions that you have in your company, and using best practices, for example, with Signavio, SAP allows us to reduce the complexity and making it easier. So clean core usually is applied only to ABAP.
Stop sharing.
I don't know what happened. Okay, sorry. The Wi-Fi went down. Okay, now it's back again. 1 second. I have to connect again to the. Sorry about that. Don't use join now. You have to allow me, yeah. So I'm here again. Share screen. Back in business. No. Yeah, it should be there.
I don't know what happened there.
Not yet. Just stop sharing it.
Yeah.
You can just slide.
Yeah.
You can
Share screen. No.
wait.
It's like you're sharing. Okay. Now. Sorry about that. So where I was speaking about operation, yeah, the governance about all the processes that you have in your company, and usually we speak about clean core only applied to the backend, like reducing our custom code. But SAP, what SAP says is clean core is for everything. It's a way of thinking our companies. Okay. Nonetheless, applied to clean core in development systems. I know this slide was already presented. Here there's a version with more annotations, considering what is included in one of these levels. As you may know, previously clean core has 3-tier levels. These 3 tiers were too restrictive, so SAP decided to move from this 3-tier to this more friendly approach. That is, you are not on clean core, but with level C you are close to clean core, right? So as you can see, and it was already explained, you have have, and you have builds with low code, no code, pro code, or not working code in sub builds. You have ABAP Cloud in side-by-side extensibility. If you want to go to the backend, you have on-stack extensions where you have sub-build extension, and then you have extended with classic ABAP. This is the bodies that always new from SAP. And then in standard objects, we have SAP extension point and SAP APIs classic. What is this? Anyone knows about classic APIs? Yeah, what else?
So APIs.
BAPIs?
No.
Yeah. So, and SAP remote APIs, SAP local APIs, and extension points is something that we can find in the SAP Business Accelerator Hub, right? So we go to there a bit later. One of the tools that we can use to implement Clean Core is RAD framework, right? There's others, but for ABAP development or for backend development is one of the main solutions we can implement. In RAD, we have a lot of elements, but basic elements are CDS views. If we want to query data, is the data model where we can fetch this information. If we go to business objects, if we want to implement CRUD operations, create, read, update, delete, we need to go to business objects with behavior implementation and behavior definition elements that are put on top of the CDS views. And then we have the service definition and service binding that are these elements that allow us to expose the information or expose the actions as web APIs, Fiori UIs, or SAP events, right? So with all these elements, we are going to connect with, well, sorry about this slide, because this is how SAP says that we have to create wrappers, saying that if we are on this level D, we have a classic API, and what SAP says is if a CDS is the right one, but it's not released, you have to create a custom CDS on top and then release it. If there's no CDS, you have to create a custom CDS, put it on top of your database table, and then release it. For BAPIs, classic APIs, we have to see if there's some classic API released, then create a custom class and wrap this BAPI and then release this class. What is this for? To expose as an API to the external system, to the UI, etc. Okay. Then what happened if we are in, this is in Spanish, not so easy to appify environments. Context is everything, right? I work for a company that most of their customers are insurance companies, bank companies that work with not so common SAP modules. So this is the context. Our customers, mainly, not everyone, not all the customers, but most of them has not so easy to appify environments. That means that if we go to Business Accelerator Hub for private cloud environment, we are going to find 5 APIs released, 3, depending on the context. That means that we have lack of released APIs. That's the first handicap. Second one, long execution processes. insurance companies, for those that may not know, um, are based on a lot of backend processes that usually users are used to get all the information, let's say 20 company codes or 20 I don't know, business areas, and execute something that takes 2 hours, 3 hours to get some result on the how my investments are going. So the users are really used to that, and SAP transactions are based on these users, and the executions are really, really long. Considering that you don't have this API released, it sounds like a bit tricky situation to create a clean core application, right? And then most of these companies are big companies that has a lot of custom code really coupled to the SAP GUI or to classic ABAP, and the technical depth is too much to deal with it and to move to S4HANA private cloud and apply clean core to it. Is too much to consider. As an example of what I was saying, if we go to API.SAP.com, let's go to private edition, for example. We go to APIs and let's get everything here. And if we put treasury, we have 5. This is the reality for these customers. And we are in, I selected private cloud. I mean, it's not even on-premise, it's private cloud. All of these APIs are, most of them, I think one of them is, it has CRUD operations, I think is one. But all of them, most of them are read operation, and they are only querying data. And if we go inside, it's not allowed for developer extensibility. So that means that you have only this information and you cannot extend it. So based on that, we have a use case. A customer came with a requirement that was, okay, I want to create, I want from you to create an application to get two different rows of users. One of them from a subsidiary company. They need to be able to introduce some data in an application. This information has to be moved to the backend, and then there's a parent company that needs to be able to get all this information, validate it, and then execute operations in the backend system, right? As mentioned, segregation of duties. We have all the context that I explained. It was a company working in treasury module, all these not released APIs, segregation of duties with the subsidiary users and the parent company users that are the one that execute the operations. So based on that, what we did is this application that I'm going to show here briefly. I don't. Okay. Why? Okay. So we created this application. Here the users this is for the parent company users. They have everything here. This is the information that the subsidiary companies enter in the system. Here, the master user can validate everything, can create the validation of the data, and then after everything is in place, can launch the process. I'm not going to do it because I think the Wi-Fi is not so fast, but as you can see, we have some executions. Here we have different company codes. We are going to enter with a subsidiary user, and you will see that some operations for the company code that is not authorized are not appearing here in the historical information data. Okay. So let me sure. No. Why I'm not seeing the data? No, this is not the user. Okay, yeah. So as you can see here, we have these applications. We have only the operations that we are authorized to see. So the segregation of duties is done. In the operation side, as you can see, the green button that allows us to execute the operations is not there. So what we have is to create a wrap application with a I don't have the name of the object. It's access control element. This access control guarantees us that everything is separated. So the same application filters based on the user roles that you have in your SAP system. So everything is there. And as you can see here, I can enter information, and I can. Now it's going to fail. No, okay, it's it's working. So I can enter information, and I can go to the main monitor, and as a master user, I can execute everything. What is behind when I execute this code? When I talked about BAPIs, is this? It's a BAPI, but as you can see here, here API state. It's the same BAPI that we are used to use all the time in ABAP. Now is wrapped in a set class, and then called in the behavior definition. So yeah, launch process. We go here, and then as you can see, we have the set launch. Where is not opening? Create instruments. Yeah, it's in here below. Yeah. So most of you can think, okay, but why is this clean core? If we go here to the presentation again, This is on level D. We are using a classic SAP API. But what happens if 2 years, 5, 15, I don't know, SAP releases a business object that is doing this job? We are converting from a set solution to a level D solution that is not fully clean core, and in 5, 6, or 15 years, we're going to be forced to get rid of this solution and implement SAP solution. Not everything, of course. Part of the UI, part of the wrap service are going to be there, but the class call is going to disappear because we will have a business object that is going to do this job. So let's go back forward. I don't know how much time I have. Okay. The outcomes for us. Clean core is about, at least is our lessons learned, is about flexibility. That means that we have to redefine solutions. We have to be able to encourage the users to redefine what they have. These long process runs that I explained needs to be redefined. It has to be based on event architecture, microservices architecture, but this is also comes from the users. The use case needs to be, of course, the business requirements are the same, but we have to change the how the users behave with the system. Okay, case by case study. What that means? Usually companies tend to automate everything. Let's do a bulk calculation about how much time do we need or how much money do we need to invest in converting our legacy code to clean core. Okay, you can make numbers, you can estimate the effort, but when it comes to clean core application, it depends a lot on what you have in ABAP code. If your transaction is based on a BAPI, for example, and it's a BAPI release, it's going to be way faster, as we see here, that if you have a legacy ABAP procedural code that still exists on ABAP systems. And then governance. You have to be sure that you are up to date on what is released with the cloudification repository with Cloud ALM to check everything every day or every month, what is released now and what happens when what I have developed already and what is coming from SAP. And for that, you can use ATC checks and Cloud ALM, for example, tools to make this work. And yeah, thank you. I don't know if you have questions. Too late, but yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I hope everyone is following the best practices, right? That Jose Carlos just shared with us. That'll be good to know. Yeah, and don't leave. We have some prizes, by the way. Some espresso tutorial prizes, SAP press books as well. So yeah, we're giving them out after the last talk. So and now we have Juan Carlos who will talk to us about BIOS and how to make them available to third parties in
Spanish.
en español. So we're going to put the live translation there.
Pulsa aquí también.
Ya está.
Pulsa aquí también.
¿Dónde?
Para micrófono.
Hola, ok. Bueno, ah, bueno, buenos días, buenas tardes a todos. Ya es la última sesión, con lo cual intentaré ser un poquito breve y ya pues nos vamos todos a casa o donde consideremos, ¿vale? Bueno, yo soy un desarrollador de toda la vida, siempre me ha gustado mucho SAP, ABAP y todo lo que ha venido detrás, y os voy a contar una pequeña experiencia que llevamos desde hace unos cuantos años en un entorno muy hostil y muy grande, ¿ok? Entonces, nosotros, como gente de SAP, siempre pensamos donde vamos que SAP es el centro del universo de la empresa y que todo gira hacia SAP. Y hay sitios donde no ocurre eso. Tú tienes tu sistema y tienes que luchar por él, ¿vale? Entonces, tú llegas con tu sistema y al cabo de 2 o 3 años tienes datos medianamente válidos para la empresa y resulta que te empieza a aparecer gente que no conoces con tecnología que no conoces y les tienes que dar datos de tu sistema, ¿vale? Ellos no quieren, no te van a venir a traer nada, solo quieren tus datos, ¿vale? Esto que os voy a contar se podría decir que es el típico trabajo que se suele dar a becarios de darme un programa que cree un fichero para dárselo a no sé quién. El problema de esta solución es cuando el volumen empieza a ser brutal. No estamos hablando de un programa, estamos hablando de 50, 100, y no estamos hablando de un fichero. Podemos llegar incluso a hablar de miles de ficheros. Entonces, te das cuenta que la solución típica no funciona. Entonces, es un poco lo que ocurre al principio. Tú vas con tu idea de toda la vida y te das cuenta que eso, al cabo de un año, es un auténtico fracaso. Y si tú no eres capaz de dar información a tus destinatarios, realmente tu SAP se empobrece y probablemente tiende a la extinción, ¿vale? En base a esto, bueno, esto es un poco lo que suele ocurrir cuando tú montas el caos. En base a esto, lo que tuvimos que inventarnos es algo que fuera súper dinámico, súper ágil y que fuera capaz de ejecutar cosas que ya teníamos en SAP, que automáticamente generaran ficheros o otras cosas para poder dar servicio a todo lo que teníamos alrededor, ¿vale? Entonces, en base a esto, lo importante era aprovechar todo lo que teníamos en SAP, ¿vale? Entonces, en SAP, ¿qué tenemos? Básicamente tenemos ALVs, tenemos report estándar, tenemos queries, tenemos web service que llamamos a no sé quién, y nuestros destinatarios resulta que esa información de una forma u otra es lo que ellos vienen a pedir. Pero no vienen a pedir un fichero, a lo mejor te vienen a pedir 50 ficheros, ¿vale? Pero no de lo mismo, es decir, 50 ficheros diferentes, ¿vale? Ahí es donde viene el problema y la complejidad. Vale, intentamos buscar por foros y derivados, había algo parecido a esto y obviamente no encontramos nada, con lo cual a partir de aquí tuvimos que inventarnos algo, ¿vale? Nuestra solución realmente, que al principio era, vamos a decir, que un ejecutador de cosas, pues al final ha evolucionado un montón y ahora ejecuta cosas y hace muchas más cosas. Y podríamos denominarla que es una solución de low code. Es decir, con muy poquito código aprovechas todo lo que tienes de SAP, que esa es un poco la idea. ¿Qué es lo que hace? Muchas veces, si nosotros hacemos el típico programa que genera un fichero, lo que vamos a tener que replicar esa operación de generar el fichero en cada programa, aunque lo metamos en una clase o derivadas, pero ya lo tenemos instalado en el programa. ¿Y qué ocurre? Si en un momento dado, en vez de un fichero, tiene que generar otra cosa, ya vamos a tener que tocar el programa. Lo importante es que el programa origen no se toque, ¿vale? Que siga haciendo lo que tiene que hacer y nosotros alimentarnos de esa información, ¿vale? Entonces, ¿qué es lo que montamos? Bueno, aunque lo veáis aquí como un pollo del 9, que lo es algo relativamente muy fácil, ¿vale? Nos inventamos una parametrización en la cual cada pincho, cada checkbox, es un extractor. Y además es un extractor que puede generar de 1 a n ficheros. Es decir, ese pincho puede estar generando 10 ficheros por debajo. ¿En qué sabemos que genera n ficheros? Porque hay una parametrización. Todo esto está basado en que el código es prácticamente o nulo o mínimo, ¿vale? Entonces, ¿qué tenemos montado? En base a esto, ¿qué tenemos montado? Una parametrización. A ver, espera, perdón. Aquí. ¿Qué tenemos montado? Una parametrización donde le decimos primero tenemos agrupados nuestros destinatarios por carpetas, súper importante. Digamos, cada carpeta de estas es un destinatario, ¿vale? Este destinatario, básicamente, en este primer paso le decimos, ¿dónde vas a ejecutar eso? Entonces, ¿por qué? Porque si nosotros tuviéramos varias máquinas SAP, esto solo lo tendríamos en una, ¿vale? Y esto podría estar accediendo a N máquinas SAP de tal manera que el destinatario solo conociera un único eje, ¿vale? Súper importante. No tenemos que replicar esto en cada máquina SAP. ¿Qué tenemos? Un destinatario que, si nos cuenta, son todos estos. Y simplemente en el primer paso le decimos, ¿dónde lo queremos ejecutar? Básicamente le indicamos el destino RFC de ida y vuelta, le indicamos en qué ruta lógica vamos a dejar la información y le indicamos si queremos que nos mande un correo cada vez que se ejecuta con errores o que haya ocurrido algo en la cadena. ¿Vale? Es decir, que nosotros, muy importante, esto es proactivo, no tenemos que estar pendientes de esto. Él, si ocurre algo, nos llega un correo diciendo, oye, que ha pasado algo en este sitio, ¿vale? El segundo paso, una vez que tenemos claro dónde vamos a ejecutar la información, ¿qué es lo siguiente que le tenemos que decir? ¿Qué queremos ejecutar? Súper importante. Pues queremos ejecutar este programa, Z o lo que sea, y lo vamos a ejecutar, simplemente le vamos a indicar que este es nuestro número de fichero y que lo vamos a ejecutar con una función. Estas funciones es el único código que tienes que tirar, pero muchas veces ya tenemos funciones estandarizadas, con lo cual no tienes ni que llegar a tirar código. ¿Vale? De lo veis aquí abajo. Y el siguiente nivel que le tenemos que decir es con qué parámetros lo queremos ejecutar. Súper fácil. Esto simplemente cualquiera lo conoce y sabe. Sobre estos parámetros, pues tenemos aquí cosas muy fáciles, como poder ejecutar una variante. ¿Para qué vamos a ejecutar parámetros? Con una variante lo solucionamos. Tenemos para poder meter funciones para que, digamos, de esa variable tome vida en tiempo de ejecución, o un setup y hacemos, nos inventamos un filtro y cosas así. Y luego, lo más importante, ¿vale? Ya tenemos claro y definido qué queremos ejecutar y cómo. Vale, pues ahora viene el cómo. Y esta yo creo que es una de las grandes potencias de todo esto. El cómo le estamos indicando que lo vamos a ejecutar. En modo yo, no, sí o no, que lo vamos a paralelizar. Es decir, imaginaros que tenemos el típico report que ejecuta algo durante 12 meses, todo el año, pues decimos, lo vamos a ejecutar, vamos a hacer una ejecución por mes, ¿vale? De tal manera que la paralelizamos y si el informe estándar, imaginaros que estamos usando el informe estándar que nos tarda 5 minutos, lo hemos dividido entre 12 y en menos de medio minuto tenemos esa ejecución de report estándar que no le hemos tocado. ¿Vale? Y además tenemos aquí un agrupador de ficheros y una serie de historias aquí. SIT, pues si queremos hacer algo después, para adelante y para atrás. ¿Vale? Con lo cual, con esto tenemos un sistema ágil, parametrizable, que no necesitas un técnico que sea capaz de generar un fichero. Este proceso simplemente lo tienes que repetir por todos los ficheros que quieres generar. Hecho uno, hecho todo, porque aquí existe el copy-paste que va perfecto. ¿Vale? Por supuesto, alrededor de todo esto, pues tenemos todos los logs, el correo que nos envía si todo va bien o va mal, un trace para que, sobre todo el tipo de desarrollo, que sepas por dónde va pasando y qué va haciendo el proceso para que no se te olvide nada. ¿Vale? Bueno, ejecuciones, que sepas con qué parámetros se ha ejecutado cada cosa, para que sobre todo no estés perdido. Es decir, que tengas el control absoluto de qué se ejecuta, cómo y cuándo. ¿Vale? Esto es la parte de backend, es la parte más importante y sobre la cual se está montado absolutamente todo. Luego os daré un poco magnitudes para que entendáis por qué esto se tuvo que hacer, porque partíamos de la idea original de que éramos un programa, un fichero, pero es que vamos a, con esto, ser capaces de generar miles de ficheros. ¿Vale? Bueno, sobre esto que es la parte backend, la parte más importante, pues más adelante se decidió construir un sistema de servicios OData. De tal manera que estos ficheros, que obviamente el único camino inicialmente que tenían de viajar era vía FTP, pudieran viajar y sincronizarse de otra forma, ¿vale? Entonces, automáticamente la ventaja es que en el momento que tú metes un programa ahí a ejecutarse, absorbe todo lo que esta infraestructura te da, ¿vale? Bueno, en el sistema de ODPs, que lo hemos llamado, o simplemente servicios, hay dos modelos súper importantes. Online, batch. Obviamente, si yo voy a ejecutar un report que me tarda 20 minutos, yo no puedo lanzar un servicio, porque va a morir. Entonces, yo soy el que tiene que decidir si ese servicio se puede ejecutar online. Si el servicio me va a durar 20 segundos, online. Si va a durar más, batch. Y hay otra cosa muy importante. Por mucho online no que haya, hay otra cosa que hay que tener en cuenta, que es el volumen. Si yo en online soy capaz de generar 2 millones de registros, yo no lo puedo dar como un servicio. ¿De acuerdo? Y si en batch me necesitan 3 millones de registros, yo sí lo puedo dar. Ahora os voy a dar cómo funciona el online del batch, ¿vale? El online, pues es el típico. Lo lanza, hay una URL genérica para todo el proceso, lo lanzas y automáticamente te va a dar el XML de los datos. No hay nada que inventar al respecto, ¿vale? Esto ahora vais a ver este modelo dónde tiene aplicación y cómo se usa, ¿vale? Pues esto es simplemente infraestructura intermedia, ¿vale? Bueno, aquí tenéis lo típico, ejecución en JSON y otra cosa muy importante. Cuando la ejecución es en batch, perdón un momento, cuando la ejecución en batch se ejecuta, no se ejecuta de forma directa, es decir, se ejecuta mediante pasos. Yo en la primera ejecución, yo ejecuto un extractor, ¿vale? Ese extractor no, automáticamente me va a dar un ID con el identificación de esa ejecución. Yo tengo que hacer luego nuevas llamadas para ver si ha terminado o no, y si ha terminado, me va a dar un XML con el resultado de esa ejecución en tamaño y todo lo que corresponda. ¿Por qué? Porque imaginaros que yo hago una ejecución y me genera 50 millones de registros. ¿Vale? Yo tengo la posibilidad de traérmelo por trozos. Es decir, traerme del millón 1 al millón 2, del millón 2 al millón 3, millón 3 al millón 4. Con lo cual, el volumen no es problema. Y además, como esa información ya está guardada en un fichero, no pasa nada. Si en un momento dado tengo que recuperar un trozo, lo recupero. No tengo problema. ¿Vale? Hay otra forma, ¿vale? Que yo puedo recuperar toda la información en un zip, ¿vale? Que es el método más rápido y menos voluminoso. Con lo cual yo automáticamente, si tengo 5 millones en un zip, a lo mejor me se queda en un volumen relativamente cómodo para traerlo, ¿vale? Todo esto, tened en cuenta que nos lo da la plataforma. Yo partía de una LV inicial y todo esto nos lo da la plataforma. El LV solo sabe generar la matriz de datos, no tiene ni idea de todas estas cosas, ¿vale? Bueno, sobre este modelo de OData, fuimos a la siguiente capa, y es, ¿por qué, digamos, el modelo anterior está pensado básicamente para trabajar entre sistemas? ¿Por qué no nos construimos una aplicación en la cual el usuario tenga acceso a los extractores que nosotros le queremos dar y además se los ejecute cuando le dé la gana, como le dé la gana, dentro de unos márgenes, por supuesto, y sin necesidad de nadie, ¿vale? Pues en base a eso, nos inventamos una aplicación en UI5, aquí la tenemos, ¿verdad? Esto aquí lo veis aquí, en la cual automáticamente tú montas esta parametrización de lo que le das a cada usuario. Pues yo te voy a dar esta pestaña y de esta pestaña solo te voy a dejar ejecutar 2 o 3 extractores, ¿vale? Y aquí, automáticamente, cuando ya aparezca en la aplicación, ya móvil, me va a aparecer eso para que yo automáticamente lo pueda ejecutar. Esta aplicación UI5, básicamente, lo que nos da son 2 cosas súper importantes. La primera, que le dejo al usuario planificar las ejecuciones. Es decir, que él automáticamente, si es una información que ejecuta todos los días a las 8 de la mañana, no tiene que venir a la aplicación. Automáticamente deja planificado su extractor para que a las 8 de la mañana se ejecute, ¿vale? ¿Y cómo lo ve? Pues automáticamente ese extractor se puede definir que me llegue a mi correo la ejecución de ese extractor en un zip. Y otra cosa muy importante que nos da esta aplicación, el agrupar, ¿vale? Si mi concepto de trabajo son 5 extractores, no tengo que ir y hacer 5 veces lo mismo en la aplicación. Me creo un grupo que sean los 5 extractores o N grupos, ¿vale? Los que me dé la gana, y automáticamente esa es mi unidad de trabajo. ¿Qué puede ocurrir? Que, por ejemplo, nos ocurre. Un departamento que el lunes y dice, pues yo voy a necesitar esto y lo dejo planificado para todas las semanas. No tiene que entrar en ninguna aplicación. Todos los días a las 9 de la mañana tiene su información en el correo. No necesita de nadie. Y el ALV que está allí tampoco tiene ni idea. No sé si un poco seguís, ¿vale? Con lo cual esto es súper importante. Bueno, aquí tenéis un poco cómo se parametriza todo el tema de UI5, ¿vale? O sea, código 0, ¿vale? Esto es tema de parametrización. Una vez que montas uno, montas todo. Aquí tú indicas si le quieres dejar planificar o no, a lo mejor le dices planifica o no, si le quieres dejar que cree grupos o no, y si le quieres incluso especificar una variante de ejecución específica para ese usuario, ¿vale? Que no sea la ejecución estándar que tú tienes montado, sino que, y para este se va a ejecutar de esta forma en concreto, ¿vale? Hay otra cosa que también puedes hacer, es filtro. Imaginar que un extractor saca datos de 10 sociedades y yo solo quiero que este usuario, que soy yo, solo vea los datos de una sociedad, ¿vale? Pues hay un punto en la parametrización por aquí y le dices, y tú solo ves esta sociedad, ¿vale? Bueno, aquí tenéis un poquito más las pantallas, ¿vale? Aquí está, digamos, cómo sería la parametrización que tú le has montado. Aquí sería la pantalla de cómo se ejecuta esto, simplemente le da el botón de OK. Y lo bueno es que él tendría también aquí en esta aplicación el fichero para acceder a él cuando le dé la gana. Es decir, hasta que no vuelvas a darle, ese fichero no va a morir, ¿vale? Con lo cual, si lo ejecutas una vez y lo has perdido, pues vienes aquí y lo vuelves a recuperar. Que necesitas actualizar datos, le vuelves a dar a ejecutar y tienes el mismo fichero actualizado. Tan simple como eso, no tiene más, ¿vale? Bueno, aquí tenéis un poco, este sería el correo que recibe el usuario en su bandeja de grupo, ¿vale? Aquí le diría lo que ha ejecutado, cuánto tiempo ha tardado, cuántos ficheros le ha recuperado, y en este punto aquí le vendrían todos los N ficheros que le tendrían que venir. Es decir, que aquí pueden venir 10 ficheros, 1 o 25, si no necesita más. Y la compresión, porque esto siempre, el contenido de los datos siempre va en CSV. Es decir, la compresión en .zip es altísima. Es decir, tú puedes mandar, puedes mandar incluso registros o sea, ficheros de millones de registros que te van a caber, porque la compresión es muy alta. ¿Vale? Y bueno, pues se puede decir que es terminado. Increíble, ¿verdad? Bueno, esto he ido súper rápido porque es así. Este es el modelo actual en el que estamos. Y esta es la diapositiva que define absolutamente todo lo que os he contado. Empezamos por aquí, porque aquí usábamos cosas que ya había en el sistema. Obviamente generamos ficheros, usamos FTP para enviarlo donde se corresponda. Este mismo monitor puedes hacer a GRC o cualquier otra máquina que tengamos. No necesitamos replicar esto, ¿vale? Estos ficheros, el camino que sigan. En el modo DP, tú puedes consumirlo vía mi favorito. O sea, y los Sodatas son tan para cual, vamos, para mí es el mejor mecanismo. Obviamente puedes consumir por WebI, tienes tu aplicación en 5, puedes estar dando servicio a otras aplicaciones mediante volúmenes, ¿vale? De hecho, nosotros tenemos aquí 2 o 3 aplicaciones que estamos dando servicio todos los días. Aquí básicamente lo que se replica son datos maestros, estructuras organizativas, cosas que estas aplicaciones tienen que tener actualizadas para poder funcionar correctamente. Y últimamente, pues estamos evolucionando por aquí, porque nos hemos dado cuenta que digamos, tenemos todo hecho. Solo lo único que nos queda es la conexión con el BTP. Y estamos evolucionando por aquí, ya que hemos hecho la primera, y la verdad es que el código que hemos tirado para conectarnos aquí no hace ni scroll. Es alucinante. O sea, nos hemos quedado alucinados. Con lo cual, esto es básicamente todo lo que os quiero enseñar. Obviamente hay detalles, porque el tiempo no nos deja más, pero bueno, os contaré, digamos, magnitudes, para que entendáis un poco por qué se ha hecho esto. Es decir, porque el típico fichero de toda la vida, el programa, eso ha sido funcionando y va a seguir funcionando. Pero ¿por qué se ha hecho? Bien, esta gente de aquí estuvieron a punto de morir, porque por un tema de auditoría, pues lo que voy a decir es una barbaridad, pero es así, necesitaban generar un fichero de 1.000 millones de registros. No sé si me explico bien. 1.000 millones de registros. Obviamente ellos hicieron el programa correspondiente, etc. Y siempre les fallaba. Siempre ocurría algo en la máquina al cabo de no sé cuánto tiempo y siempre fallaba. Y bueno, hay una persona con la que tengo mucha relación allí, me dijo, Juan Carlos, ¿por qué no usamos tu invento? Dice, bueno, digo, yo no, digamos, yo no, esto que me estás contando es una aberración, yo no tengo ni idea. Bueno, pues la verdad es que hicieron algo súper genial. Hicieron un programa en base al volumen de datos que iban a manejar. En esta parte de aquí hicieron 9.000 ejecuciones. En esta parte de aquí, espera, aquí, aquí. Hicieron 9.000 ejecuciones. Las hicieron con un programa. Obviamente no hubo un tío que las picó a mano. Y estaban, digamos, equilibradas en que más o menos cada ejecución generaba 100.000 registros. ¿Vale? Entonces, obviamente, al final de todo, los 9.000 jobs al sistema, la verdad es que no llegó a 3 horas. Y esos jobs, cuando terminaron, juntaron los 9.000 ficheros en uno. Y ese día, pues la verdad es que vinieron a felicitarme, lo cual yo me quedé sorprendido, gratamente sorprendido, y entendí que había creado un monstruo. O sea, literalmente, porque yo no había pensado nunca en nada de eso. Dije, Dios mío, qué barbaridad. Y luego otra cosa, ¿por qué hemos hecho esto? Pues os voy a dar otra magnitud. ¿Veis que está todo lleno de pinchos y lleno de carpetas? Con este mecanismo hemos estado, ahora mismo hemos bajado un poquito, pero hemos llegado a estar generando, hemos tenido vivos 200 extractores a la vez, el mismo día, y generando más de 1.000 ficheros al día. No sé si entendéis. Obviamente entiendo que es lo más anormal, que alguien te pida algo así. Pero gracias a eso, nuestro sistema SAP, que ya he dicho que era un sistema hostil y no era el sistema más predominante de la compañía, pues se hizo su sitio y se hizo de respetar. Fijaros qué cosa más simple y más tonta, ¿no? Y a partir de aquí, pues bueno, el camino nos lo dirá el destino, ¿sabes? Pero ahora mismo, la verdad es que toda esta infraestructura la tenemos, digamos, fijaros, el mismo report que tenéis aquí, que puede ser un Z o cualquier cosa, automáticamente, simplemente con esta historia, le podéis estar dando el servicio departamental. Al tío de ese le vais a hacer feliz. Bueno, el tío de ese lo va a besar. Tenéis aquí gente que, bueno, de repente os habéis quitado de encima. Dame el fichero, que sáquetelo tú, déjame en paz. ¿Vale? Gente, vais a tener aquí aplicaciones que las vais a tener, digamos, conectadas a todos los datos que ellos os pidan. Que os piden un millón de registros, es tu problema. ¿Vale? Obviamente tenemos el correo, proxy que tenemos por aquí y poco más. ¿Vale? Entonces, bueno, pues esto es un poco lo que os quería contar. Y no sé si tenéis alguna duda o curiosidad, porque esto, sinceramente, todo esto que os he contado súper rápido es una cuestión de años y os puedo decir que nos daría para escribir un libro. O sea, las cosas y gente que nos hemos topado por medio. O sea, pero de todo tipo. Es decir, gente difícil. Vamos a dejarlo ahí, ¿vale? Entonces, con esto, la verdad es que hemos conseguido acallar muchas bocas. Y hay una cosa muy importante. Todo esto está hecho como si fuera un producto. Está metido en un kit, con lo cual que te lo puedes llevar donde te dé la gana. Te puedes llevar a qué máquina consideres otra máquina. El código medianamente está decente. No es un código malamente, es un código bastante decente. De hecho, este código para instalar y producir está auditado y tiene una serie de sellos, ¿vale? No dejan a cualquiera poner un código ahí. Y a partir de aquí, pues no sé, si queréis alguna curiosidad o historia, que se pongo a contar batallas, no me vale.
Esto suena como una buena historia para un podcast, ¿eh?
Bueno, os puedo decir que las historias que hemos tenido con esto son surrealistas. Y bueno, pues ahí está. O sea, lo importante es que está vivo. Esto empezó a desarrollarse en SC, está en S4 ya, desde hace un par de años. Está en la última release de S4, ¿vale? Está sobre todo conviviendo con muchos CDS, ¿vale? CDS ahora mismo es uno de los que más tira, pero nos da igual, ¿vale? Con esto, hace unos años ya. Hace unos años, ha ido madurándolo. Y imaginar, obviamente lo primero que se creó fue esto fue la base de todo. Una vez que tenías esto, pues dijimos, oye, ¿por qué no replicamos? Que no tengamos que repetir. Después de esto, vino esto, el típico departamental, ¿vale? Dijimos, bueno, pues luego vamos a esto. Y este siempre estaba ahí. Y este es, digamos, la nueva aventura. ¿Vale? Pues es un poco... Dime.
¿Cómo gestionáis
Creo que paralicéis procesos para aprovechar el ancho de banda, los jobs que tiene activo el sistema.
Sí.
Pero tampoco te puedes comer todo.
No pasa nada. O sea, tú...
Pero ¿cómo ponéis el límite para decir, no sé, coger el 80% o...?
No hay límite. Tú ten en cuenta lo que te he contado antes, de los 1.000 millones de registros, lanzamos los 9.000 jobs a la vez. O sea, pero literalmente.
Me refiero, si tienes 20 caminos,
sí,
y coges los 20, ya que a imprimir una cosa, sí que...
Te lo diría de otra forma, es decir, pues espera. Es decir, hay una cosa. Hay una cosa que. Hay una cosa que.
Este día coja hasta el 70%.
Sí, se puede, exacto, a nivel administración se puede hacer eso. Es decir, oye, este tío que va a disparar tanto yo, que no se coma toda la cola de yo. ¿Vale? Eso se puede hacer. Sí, sí, no, correcto. Pero por ejemplo, ese día se lanzaron 9.000 jobs a la vez y se quedaron colados. Se quedaron colados. Y tardaron, por suerte, solo 3 horas. Podrían haber tardado más.
Pero va uno detrás de otro.
Sí, sí, sí. O sea, según se va haciendo la cola, entra el siguiente. Y además da igual el orden. Porque esto lleva un sistema que sabe luego cómo tiene que juntar los ficheros. ¿Entiendes? Es decir, que no los junta luego aleatoriamente. Tiene un mecanismo. Tú ten en cuenta que cuando tú lanzas algo de esto, hay un Big Brother detrás que está controlando absolutamente todo lo que pasa. Primero, si alguno de estos jobs me ha dado un down, si el fichero se ha quedado sin espacio. Es decir, todos estos típicos problemas técnicos que suele haber cuando tú generas un fichero, lo bueno es que esta herramienta, todos esos errores los hemos llevado para que no ocurran. ¿Vale? ¿Que siempre puede ocurrir algo? Sí. Pero no va a ser el típico error. Que ocurrirá algo muy excepcional de esa instalación por algo, pero no nada más. ¿Vale? Pues yo creo que, salvo que queráis comentar algo, pues un poquito. Aquí os enseño el mecanismo con el cual seguimos todavía con la cabeza sobre las zonas. ¿Vale? Dime.
Recuerda esa sesión del Delta Server que estoy intentando. Es una solución muy pregunta. ¿Cómo crear particiones?
Aquí, o sea, tú en esa parametrización que te he enseñado antes, eres el que decide, sin tirar una línea de código, cómo quieres ejecutar las cosas. ¿Vale? Es más, tú tienes imagínate que tienes el mismo LV, este LV, y lo quieres ejecutar de 10 formas diferentes porque tu destinatario lo quiere de 10 formas diferentes. No, porque tienes 10 destinatarios y cada uno lo quiere de forma diferente, pero realmente ellos quieren la misma información. ¿Vale? Pues tú le creas una parametrización de ejecución para cada uno. Y les tienes a los 10 contentos y es mentira, son las 1. ¿Vale? ¿Ok? Gracias a Nori por dejar el sitio. Y espero que os haya gustado esto. Si alguna vez tengo que volver a enseñar, no sé dónde estaremos aquí. ¿Vale? Dios sabe dónde nos habrá llevado el destino. ¿Ok? Venga, gracias.
Well, thank you very much for staying until the end. We have some prizes that we need to give out. So as I mentioned before, it's from Espresso Tutorials and also SAP Prep, a couple of books and a couple of courses. And okay, we just need to. No. I think-